As we kind of tease things there before the break, Marilyn Olson of Big Fork, we talked with her last month before she went on this great adventure training for this marathon in New Mexico. And I got a text from you, a wonderful picture. You finished things 26 plus miles in the desert in New Mexico, carrying what, 20, 30 pounds?
I was right at 20, 21 pounds.
Just to recap things and refresh our memories, why did you do this?
The Bataan Memorial Death March commemorates the original death march of the Philippines in 1942. And I had decided to do this primarily to honor some of my son's buddies that were killed in action and wounded in action over in Afghanistan during his deployment in 2012. And since then, it just grew from local community members that had loved ones that had either been on the death march originally in the Philippines or knew someone that had been wounded or killed in action. So they had come forward and asked me to honor their loved ones as well.
How many took part in this, Marilyn?
There were over 6,200 participants this year.
From all over the land?
From all over, actually from all over the world. There were people from Sweden, from Germany that I met, had some wonderful visits from people from other countries as well. Philippines, definitely. There were family members that were doing the Ruck March to honor their loved ones as well.
You got ready for this months in advance. I'm sure you did. 26 miles is not exactly something you can wake up one day and go do.
No, I wish that were true.
All of us wish we could do that, right? But
exactly.
Keeping your body in shape is a little bit more of a challenge than that. All the work that you put into it and you finished it, was the reward really in crossing that finish line, or was it the process getting there?
Oh, it was definitely the journey as far as getting there, especially during the death march. You essentially forget about trying to make a good time. There's certainly ultra athletes that are used to running these events and do very well. I had a girlfriend of mine that ran it in 4 hours and 46 minutes. But she's done it several times. But it's really about the journey getting there. It's about training, meeting with families that have lost loved ones, and learning their stories and sharing those stories with other people. Definitely just meeting people along the way. Meeting wounded warriors during the Ruck March was so very moving.
What about it in particular that was moving for you?
Actually there was a gentleman that I had met after the march, coincidentally, the day after when I went up to the Veterans Memorial in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I was standing at the park literally by myself, and there was a gentleman and his daughter. And when he learned that I had just completed the death march, he was on oxygen. He was about 92 years old, I believe, is what his daughter said. And he walked over and pointed to the footprints that were in the concrete in front of this memorial, and pointed out that those were his brothers. And his brother had actually survived the original Bataan death march in the 40s, and he had been taken prisoner. He was on the death march for about 9 days, and when the Japanese started firing upon other soldiers that were trying to get water from a well, his brother, Edros Montoya, ran the other way, and he jumped on a cart full of rice, and the Filipinos actually took him high up into the mountains, and the guerrillas actually took him up even higher, and he survived there for more than 3 years with no clothing. Took gunpowder from his bullets to actually make a weapon, and would shoot animals and make jerky, and he survived on that for more than 3 years. He was up in a tree looking for food when he saw that the Americans had returned, and made his way down to Subic Bay, down to where the POWs were actually getting back on the ships, the U.S. ships. And he came out completely naked, and they were wondering where he came from, and he said, "I came from high in the mountains." And it was just a beautiful story that his brother had shared with me. He himself had been left back home to tend to the farm. So absolutely amazing story, and I'm just grateful that I was there at that moment for him to share it. His daughter said that he had been begging to come to the memorial for many months, and he just kept calling me an angel that his brother had sent me, and I said, no, I'm just a tourist. But it was just beautiful for him to share that story with me. So it definitely put, I guess, some emphasis on why I was meant to do this. So what a blessing.
Well, you feel the calling, as you're saying there, reading between the lines, that there was something more that got you there to do this.
Oh, absolutely. I truly feel that there were even moments probably during the march that some of these warriors that were killed in action, some of the survivors from the POWs, by meeting their families, I truly feel like they lifted me through some very difficult times during this. Just when you get tired, there was a period of time where I pulled my headphones out and we literally walked for miles and no one spoke. It was just listening to everyone's footsteps through the sand, and it was very humbling to think about what these men went through.
Marilyn Olson of Big Fork, she completed 26.2 miles through the high desert near White Sands, New Mexico, as she is explaining her story and what went on down there. I know it doesn't stop for you here, Marilyn. There's other things coming up this month and spring and summer that you want to let us know about.
Absolutely. As I mentioned the last time that I was here, my mission, my sole mission really is to inspire other people to continue to thank our service members, men and women, and honor our wounded and never forget the fallen. So by participating in various sporting events, running events, that just helps me to motivate other people. On April 19th down in Helena, I'm participating in the Montana Warrior Run, which I will be doing primarily to raise awareness about the Montana Wounded Warriors, which I'm a board member of. Montana Wounded Warriors is an all-volunteer organization that provides hunting and fishing opportunities for any Montana wounded veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan wars. And then on April 30th, there's a movie that I'm promoting to come to Kalispell to Signature Theaters called Comedy Warriors. It's healing through comedy. And I will leave my email, for you if there's individuals that are seeking to come to that movie. I'm solely responsible for selling the tickets online for that. I have to have at least 79 tickets sold for that to come to Kalispell. And again, I get part of the profits from that, and those profits will go to the Montana Wounded Warriors, which is a local organization based out of Columbia Falls.
Marilyn Olson, anything else you'd like to?
No, I just want to truly thank the Big Fork VFW and the Flathead Marines. They were the organizations that were responsible for paying for my travels to get to Las Cruces to be able to do this event. And I am just truly grateful for all of the supporters that have just stood by me through all of my training and continue to support me in my future events.
Thank you very much. We'll keep talking to you in the future. And I know you got a busy month ahead of you.
I do. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, Marilyn Olson of Big Fork.